In February, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was confirmed by the Senate in a narrow 52-48 vote to be Secretary of Health and Human Services. Once an influential environmental lawyer and celebrated conservationist, Kennedy has turned his focus in recent years to public health, often trafficking in flimsy and experts say dangerous conspiracy theories. Now, with real power to effect change and billions of dollars in new cuts to his department, what will Kennedy's leadership mean for America's health? NBC's Maggie Vespa has our Sunday focus.
This is how many Americans got to know Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as an independent candidate touting fringe ideologies during the 2024 presidential race.
There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective.
A run that, despite his blasting President Trump on the trail,
there's many things that President Trump has done that are appalling. God bless America.
Ended with RFK Jr. endorsing him. That newfound alliance landing Kennedy, a longtime vaccine skeptic with no medical background, at the helm of healthcare in America as Secretary for the Department of Health and Human Services, which oversees the CDC, FDA, and other agencies. His tenure immediately met with turmoil.
Turning now to the battle against bird flu.
Critics warn the cuts could be a blow to public health.
On the list of crises, a booming measles outbreak that's killed 2 children in Texas. The Secretary's vaccine stance taking center stage, including his history of elevating debunked claims that they cause autism.
I do believe that autism does come from vaccines.
But after visiting families in Texas this week, the Secretary telling CBS,
Are you encourage people to get the measles vaccine?
Still, on Thursday, he announced his department was undertaking a, quote, massive testing and research effort to determine the cause of autism, promising results by September. Kennedy citing the rate of autism has increased from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 31 in his lifetime, although it's unclear whether or not the rise is due to increased testing. Another target of Kennedy's, fluoride in our drinking water. The Secretary this week vowing to end a decades-old program the CDC has described as one of the greatest public health achievements in U.S. history.
It makes no sense to have fluoride in our water.
The Secretary pointing to a recent report that found an association between higher fluoride exposure and lower IQ scores. However, that study done outside the U.S. looked at fluoride levels more than double what federal regulators currently recommend in drinking water.
Emergency room visits would go up, and it would just increase the overall dental decay rate in our population.
But if you want to support this vision.
Kennedy's media presence this week tied to his Make America Healthy Again tour, where he's vowed to prioritize children's health care.
We're working with governors across the country to get good food into the school lunch programs and to get rid of chemical dyes.
But skepticism remains over his more fringe public health priorities.
To be a successful health secretary, you don't have to be a doctor, but you do have to know what your limitations are. If you make up your own facts or you twist the facts, you're not likely to be able to succeed at protecting Americans.
And Maggie joins me now live. Maggie, good morning. Secretary Kennedy was asked in an interview this week about the sweeping budget cuts to his department under the Trump administration and claimed he somehow doesn't know about them. So how big are they and what do they affect?
Yeah, so Willie, we're talking about $11 billion with a B, dollars in cuts in the form of grants to state and local health programs. And the secretary telling CBS News that he's, his words, not familiar with those cuts, then saying they were mainly DEI cuts ordered by the president, which is not true. This was largely funding used by state and local health departments to track things like infectious diseases, vaccinations, mental health services, and other issues. Secretary Kennedy then admitted some programs were cut that shouldn't have been and have been reinstated. Willie.
All right, a fascinating look at all this. Maggie, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.